Here's a harsh reality most men never see coming. When you go silent, something changes inside her. And no, it's not a small shift. It's a deep, undeniable pull that flips the entire dynamic. See, we've been sold the lie that the more we reach out, the more we talk, text, and stay present, the more she'll want us. But the truth is the opposite. When you stop calling, stop texting, stop bending over backward to stay in her orbit, you ignite something primal, something powerful. Most guys think winning a woman's heart is about showing up all the time, being available, being nice, answering every message within seconds. But here's what they don't realize. That constant availability, it kills attraction. It smothers curiosity. It removes the very thing that makes her lean in, mystery. Women don't chase what's predictable. They chase what's intriguing. They want space. They want suspense. They want the thrill of wondering where you went and why you're not texting her back. So when you pull away, it's not cold. It's not cruel. It's magnetic. You're giving her a chance to feel your absence, to miss you, to crave the connection she once took for granted. In this video, I'm pulling back the curtain. You're going to see exactly what happens when you stop reaching out. How silence isn't weakness, it's power. You'll discover why vanishing a little can actually bring her closer. Why the man who steps back often becomes the one she starts chasing. This isn't about playing games. It's about understanding the deep psychology of attraction, the real, raw forces at work beneath the surface. So if you're tired of always being the one who initiates, who gives more than he gets, who's always chasing, stop. Because the moment you do, you'll realize she's not slipping away. She's circling back. So stay tuned. This might just change everything you thought you knew about women, power, and connection. Number 1, she'll start chasing you like crazy. Something surprising happens the moment you stop talking to her. The dynamic flips. Suddenly you're not the guy who's always there. Not the guy who's constantly checking in or showing up at her convenience. And that shift, it hits her hard. You've just disrupted the script she's used to. And in that disruption, her brain starts firing off questions. Why isn't he texting? Did I lose him? What changed? It's basic human nature. We desire what feels uncertain, what's just out of reach. And women, just like anyone else, are wired to chase the thing they feel slipping away. When you're always available, always responsive, you unknowingly teach her that your attention is guaranteed. But the moment you pull back, even slightly, that guarantee disappears. Now you're the one who's a little harder to reach, a little more mysterious, a little more magnetic. That's when the chase begins. She'll start reaching out more. She'll text first. She might even try to plan something just to see where you stand. Here's the truth no one tells you. Absence creates value. When you give someone too much attention, it can become background noise. They get used to it, expect it, maybe even take it for granted. But when that presence is gone, when your voice, your energy, your time vanishes, it creates a void. And that void makes her miss you. It makes her wonder. Let's say you've been talking to her regularly, daily texts, occasional meetups. Everything feels steady. Then one day you step back. You stop initiating. You give her space. At first she might brush it off. But after a little while she'll start to feel it. Why hasn't he texted? Did I say something wrong? Is he losing interest? That curiosity becomes motivation. She'll reach out. She'll initiate contact. She might even pop up on your socials just to remind you she's still around. Not because you played a game, but because you changed the pattern. By stepping back, you gave her room to notice your value. And when she feels that shift, she moves toward you. That's the power of detachment. You stop chasing, and she starts running after you. Number 2, she'll start missing you deeper than you think. When you stop talking to her, it's not just about silence, it's about absence. And absence? That hits different. It doesn't whisper, it echoes. You see, when you were around, she may not have even realized how much space you occupied in her world. The good morning texts, the check-ins, the little ways you made her feel seen and heard. It all felt so normal, so constant. But now that you're gone, it's crazily loud. That space you leave behind becomes a void. And human nature hates a void, it wants to fill it. She starts noticing your absence in the smallest, most unexpected moments. She picks up her phone, but there's no message. She remembers something funny, but you're not there to share it with. And that's when the missing begins, not just casually but deeply. People rarely value what's always there. But once it's gone, that's when it clicks. Your presence, your consistency, your warmth, they weren't just habits. They were anchors. And now that they're missing, she begins to feel it in ways she can't brush off. She'll replay your conversations in her head. She'll revisit the sound of your voice, the rhythm of your texts, the way you made her feel safe or excited or important. And with every memory, every flash of what once was, the craving for your presence grows stronger. And here's the twist. This isn't just about nostalgia. This is about mystery. When she doesn't know where you've gone, what you're doing, or who you might be talking to, that uncertainty breeds curiosity. And curiosity? It turns into yearning. She might wonder, has he moved on? Was I just one of many? Did I take him for granted? That's when longing turns real. It's not about missing a guy who texted often. It's about missing the impact you had. The emotional security, the energy. The you that made her life a little brighter, a little more alive. And if you were consistent before, if you showed up day after day, then your sudden absence isn't just a change. It's an emotional shock. One that makes her look inward and ask herself, why does it feel like something's missing? The truth is, sometimes the most powerful thing you can give someone isn't more time, more words, or more attention. It's the space to miss you. And once she starts to feel that space, once that silence turns into a tug on her heart, she'll be the one trying to close the distance. Not because you pushed her to, but because she realizes you were never just someone in her life. You were someone she didn't know how much she needed until you were gone. If you are finding value in this content, then support this channel. Like, subscribe, and share. Not just for me, but for the thousands of other men out there. Let's continue. Number 3, she'll start wondering where you disappeared to. When you suddenly pull away and stop reaching out, it doesn't just confuse her, it hooks her attention in a way few things can. See, the human mind is wired to chase answers to things that don't make sense. And if she's gotten used to hearing from you, seeing your name pop up on her phone, or feeling your energy in her day-to-day life, your sudden silence, it sends shockwaves through her mind. At first, she might try to play it cool, he's probably just busy. But as the hours turn into days and the familiar presence she once relied on stays missing, her brain shifts gears. She starts asking questions. Did I do something wrong? Is he okay? Is he talking to someone else? And before she realizes it, she's spiraling through a maze of thoughts, all centered around you. This isn't just about missing your presence. It's about the mystery of your absence. The not knowing becomes a mental itch she can't stop scratching. She replays your last conversations, scans for hints, reinterprets things you said, the tone of your voice, even the emojis you used. It becomes a mental puzzle, and she's desperate to solve it. And the irony? You're now more present in her mind because you're not there. The curiosity pulls her in deeper. Not because you're chasing her, but because you're no longer predictable. And unpredictability creates intrigue. Where did he go? Why did he stop reaching out? Has he moved on? And then comes the fear. The fear of losing access to someone she assumed would always be there. That fear of the unknown, of not knowing who you're with, what you're doing, or what you're thinking, becomes a powerful force. It stirs something in her she didn't expect. She starts to realize you weren't just some guy. You had an impact. You left a mark. And now that you're gone, there's a gap she can't seem to ignore. Your silence becomes louder than words. Your absence becomes a presence in her mind. And the more she wonders about where you went, the more she starts to feel the loss. And that feeling? It opens the door to renewed attraction. Not because you're trying to manipulate her, but because she's seeing you through a different lens, one that's shaped by uncertainty, distance, and the hunger to understand why she no longer has the access she once did. And in a world full of men constantly chasing, begging, and over-explaining, your silence becomes magnetic. Because there's nothing more intriguing than a man who walks away without a word and leaves her mind racing to find out why. Number 4, she'll start to truly value you. Here's a reality check most men miss. Constant attention doesn't build desire, it buries it. When you're always available, always reaching out, always in her space, you don't become more valuable. You become expected, predictable, easy to overlook. And when something becomes predictable, it becomes easy to take for granted. What a lot of guys don't realize is that stepping back, giving her breathing room, isn't some cold tactic. It's a quiet display of strength. It shows confidence. It shows self-respect. And above all, it shows value. Because think about it, what do we tend to treasure more? Something that's always right in front of us, or something that occasionally slips just out of reach? When you take a step back, you give her the space to feel your absence. And in that space, she begins to reflect. She starts to notice the little things you brought into her world. The way you listened, the calm you carried, the stability you offered. And it hits her, those weren't just moments, they were rare. But if you're always there, always trying to prove your worth, you rob her of the chance to come to that realization herself. You're writing the story for her, when you should have let her read between the lines. Giving her space isn't about playing hard to get. It's about letting her choose you freely. Not because you're forcing your way in, but because you had the strength to step away and let her feel what life is like without you in it. That speaks volumes. It tells her you're not seeking validation, that your life doesn't revolve around her response. You have your own passions, goals, and rhythm, and whether she's part of that journey is up to her. That's not just attractive. That's irresistible. Too many men panic the moment a woman starts pulling away. They tighten their grip, double the effort, send longer texts, ask for reassurance. But the truth is, chasing only makes her run faster. What she actually needs is space to realize what she's risking. Space to recognize your absence as more noticeable than your presence ever was. And that happens when you pull back. Not in anger, not in punishment, but in self-control. Because when she starts wondering if you'll show up again, if that calm, grounded energy she once had access to is truly slipping away, she begins to value you. Not just for what you did, but for who you are. And suddenly, the moments she does get with you, they feel earned. They feel meaningful. They're not taken for granted, they're cherished. So if you want her to see your worth, stop over-explaining it. Step back. Let her feel it. And that distance, it's not the end of connection. It's what gives it depth. Number 5, she'll come to terms with how much she took you for granted. When you finally step back, and the noise fades, the texts stop, and your presence disappears, it hits her. Though not instantly, but slowly and powerfully. She starts to notice the silence. And in that silence, something clicks. She never realized how much you gave until you stopped giving. See, when someone's always there, always pouring into a connection, always showing up, it's easy to fall into comfort. To start expecting the attention. To believe it'll always be there. But the moment you pull your energy away, the illusion shatters. She starts to feel the void where your effort used to be. And in that void, she's faced with a hard truth. She took you for granted. Most men don't even recognize the value they bring. They give without limits. They show up even when unappreciated. They try to prove themselves, thinking loyalty and effort alone will earn the respect they deserve. But it rarely works that way. When you're always available, when your presence becomes predictable, she stops feeling it. It blends into the background. And soon, it becomes invisible. But when you step back, when you stop chasing, stop calling, stop overextending, you interrupt that comfort. You break the cycle. Suddenly, she's forced to remember the moments you shared. The thoughtful messages. The emotional support. the way you listen when no one else did. And for the first time she sees them for what they really were. Rare. Valuable. Not guaranteed. This isn't about guilt tripping. This isn't about playing games. It's about self-respect. By walking away, you're not punishing her. You're protecting your worth. You're saying, I won't stay where I'm overlooked. I won't keep giving where I'm undervalued. You're setting a standard, and that standard says, I am not an option. I'm not a backup plan. I am not a placeholder. And when she finally realizes the weight of your absence, it's not just regret, it's revelation. She'll see that what you gave wasn't ordinary. That your patience, your loyalty, your presence were all gifts she didn't earn twice. And if she does return, it'll be with a deeper understanding. Not because you begged, not because you chased, but because you let her feel the difference between having you and losing you. So here's the truth most won't tell you. If you're always available, you're not valuable. You're just convenient. Let her wonder. Let her miss you. Let her realize the cost of taking you for granted. Because the moment you stop chasing is the moment she sees your worth. And that changes everything. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever felt like someone didn't see your worth until you walked away? Drop your story in the comments. Let's have a real conversation. Like, share, and subscribe for more Stoic insight. Thanks for watching, and remember, silence isn't weakness, it's wisdom.